I'm 34, male, project manager at a mid-sized construction firm in Columbus, Ohio. I own a decent house, drive a paid-off truck, and up until about 8 months ago, I was in a 3-year relationship with a woman I genuinely thought I was going to marry. I'm writing this because the situation finally wrapped up in a way I didn't expect, and I need to put it somewhere. My ex-girlfriend was great when we first started dating. Smart, funny, confident. But somewhere around the 2-year mark, something shifted. The confidence turned into something harder. She started checking my phone, asking where I was going every time I left the house, keeping a mental catalog of every woman I'd ever spoken to like she was building a court case. I told myself it was insecurity, that it would get better, that I could be patient enough for both of us. That was my mistake.
So,
the reunion. My university does a big alumni event every 5 years, and this was the 10th year for my graduating class. I'd been looking forward to it for months. College was genuinely some of the best years of my life, not because of anything reckless, but because of the people. Real friendships. The kind that are hard to find once you're an adult with a job and a mortgage and a routine. I brought it up one evening over dinner. Casual, no build-up. My 10-year reunion is in 6 weeks, I said. It's in Pittsburgh. I'd love for you to come with me. She looked up. Who's going to be there? My old friends. People from my dorm, my engineering program. Is your ex going to be there? I put my fork down. My college ex, a woman I dated for about a year before we graduated and went our separate ways, had come up maybe twice in 3 years. Both times in completely normal, passing context. There was nothing there. Hadn't been for 8 years. She might be, I said honestly. It's an open reunion for the whole graduating class. I genuinely don't know. That was apparently the wrong answer. Then I'm not going. Okay, I said. That's your choice. But I'm still going. She set her fork down. Excuse me? I haven't seen these people in years. This isn't about my college ex. This is about my friends. She leaned across the table. If you go to that reunion knowing she might be there, that tells me everything I need to know about your priorities. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I just said calmly, I understand how you feel. I'm still going. What followed was 3 weeks of psychological warfare, and I mean that without exaggeration. First came the guilt. I can't believe you'd choose a party over my feelings. Then came the ultimatums. If you go, I don't know what that means for us. Then came what I started calling the rotating illness, where she'd suddenly develop a headache or an anxiety spiral the moment I tried to have a rational conversation about it. Every time I tried to talk through it like adults, she'd find a way to make it impossible. The dirtiest move? She called my mother. I didn't find out until later. She called my mom and told her I was acting distant and that she was worried about our relationship. She framed it so carefully that my mom called me out of genuine concern, essentially applying pressure from another angle without even knowing she was being used as a tool. When I found out, something clicked for me. This wasn't jealousy. This was control. And control dressed up as love is still control. I booked the hotel in Pittsburgh. I packed my bag on a Friday evening while she sat on the couch watching me with the kind of silence that was clearly meant to feel like a punishment. I kissed her on the forehead, told her I'd be back Sunday, and walked out. The reunion was everything I needed it to be. Pittsburgh in late September is something else. The venue was a hotel ballroom near campus, and within 10 minutes of walking and I was laughing, real, unforced laughter, with people I hadn't seen in a decade. There was this energy in that room that I hadn't felt in a long time. Like I could actually breathe. My college ex was there. We hugged, talked for maybe 15 minutes total across the whole weekend. She's married, has 2 kids, lives in Denver, and is doing really well for herself. There was zero tension, zero lingering anything. It was just 2 people who once knew each other and had both grown up. My current girlfriend's entire 3-week campaign of panic was about 15 minutes of perfectly normal small talk. But here's where the story actually starts. One of my closest friends from sophomore and junior year was at the reunion. We'd been in the same study group, same intramural soccer team. Life had scattered us. He'd moved to Austin after graduation, built a career in software. We hadn't really stayed in touch beyond the occasional social media like. He'd come back to the reunion solo, same as me. He also brought a colleague, a woman who worked at his company, who had gone to our school a year behind us and wanted to come to the event. She was warm and funny and sharp in that way where she'd say something and you'd laugh and then think about it again 2 minutes later. We ended up talking at the bar that first night for about 2 hours. Then at breakfast the next morning. Then on a walk through the city before the afternoon wrap-up. Nothing happened at the reunion. I was still in a relationship. But I drove home Sunday night with 2 very clear thoughts in my head. 1. That weekend had reminded me what it felt like to be around people who weren't constantly monitoring me. 2. I was dreading walking back into my own house. I pulled into my driveway, and she was waiting up. She didn't ask how it went. She didn't ask if I'd had a good time, or if it was good to see old friends. The first thing out of her mouth was, "Did you see her? My college ex?" Yes. For about 15 minutes total. She's married with kids. Did you talk to any other women? I looked at her. It was a class reunion. There were a lot of people there. Men and women. You're being evasive. I'm being normal. The fight that followed lasted 4 hours. I'm not going to replay all of it because most of it was circular and exhausting. But at some point around midnight, she said the thing that ended it for me. She said, "I should have access to your location at all times. If you won't give me that, you're hiding something." That's what a committed partner does. I sat with that for a moment. Then I said, "I think we need to break up." She didn't believe me at first. Then came the grief, then the rage, then the bargaining. Over the next 2 weeks, she showed up at my house unannounced 3 times. Once I wasn't even home, and my neighbor mentioned seeing her sitting in her car outside for almost an hour. She called my work line and asked to speak with me directly. My assistant handled it with more grace than I would have. She reached out to my mother again, this time telling her I had abandoned her without warning or explanation. By this point, I had a clear paper trail. Screenshots of texts, a log of the unannounced visits with dates, the call to my office documented by my assistant. I have a friend who's an attorney, and I sat down with him to understand my options. Under Ohio Revised Code 2903.211, menacing by stalking includes a pattern of conduct that causes a person to believe they'll be harmed or caused mental distress. She was building toward that territory. On my attorney friend's advice, I sent her a written message. Nothing threatening, just clear, stating that further contact would result in me filing a police report. The contact stopped. 3 months after the reunion, I asked the woman from Austin on a date. We'd been texting since Pittsburgh, friendly at first, then gradually more. She flew to Columbus for a long weekend. By New Year's, we were officially together. She is the most grounded, secure person I have ever been in a relationship with. She asks nothing of me that isn't reasonable. She doesn't monitor me. She doesn't issue ultimatums. It's so uncomplicated that I spent the first 2 months bracing for something to go wrong. Nothing went wrong. Then I posted the New Year's photos. We'd done a trip to Chicago, Navy Pier, deep dish pizza, a few days just enjoying a city together. I posted a handful of photos on Instagram. Nothing dramatic, just normal life. Within 48 hours, my ex had viewed every single photo and had sent screenshots to my mother with a message attached. I know because my mother called me and read the message aloud. My ex had written, "I thought you should know your son has moved on to someone he met at the reunion. The same reunion I begged him not to go to. I hope you can see now what I was trying to protect us from." My mother's response was immediate, and I'm proud of her for it. She told my ex that contacting her was inappropriate and blocked her number. Then she called me and said, "I'm so sorry I was ever in the middle of this." She used me twice, and I didn't see it. But my ex still wasn't done. She posted something on her own social media. Vague enough for deniability, specific enough that anyone who knew us would understand exactly what she was referring to. Something about being manipulated by someone you trusted and finally seeing people for who they really are. Mutual friends started texting me asking if I was okay and what was going on. Then she went after my new girlfriend directly. She sent a long message through Instagram. I know exactly what it said because my girlfriend showed it to me immediately, without drama, without accusation. She just handed me her phone and let me read it. The message painted me as emotionally abusive. It claimed I had pursued my new girlfriend at the reunion while still in a committed relationship. It included screenshots of texts from our breakup, but selectively cropped, stripped of context, edited to make my calm responses look cold and calculated. My girlfriend read the whole thing, took her phone back, and said, "This is manipulative. What do you want to do about it? Not explain yourself. Not is this true. Just what do you want to do?" I want to be clear about what happened next because I did not act out of anger. I was calm. I was methodical. And I made sure everything I did was airtight. First, I documented everything. Screenshots of the Instagram message to my girlfriend, the message sent to my mother, the social media post, all of it saved and organized with dates and timestamps. Sent everything to my attorney friend that same evening. Second, I reached out to several mutual friends who had witnessed the unannounced visits, heard about the office call, or seen the behavior pattern up close. I asked if they'd be willing to write brief written statements about what they'd observed. 2 responded within a day. Turns out they'd both been uncomfortable with her behavior for a while and were relieved to have a reason to put it on record. Third, and this is where things got serious, my attorney friend helped me draft a formal cease and desist letter. We sent it certified mail. The letter documented every incident in chronological order, the unannounced home visits with dates, the call to my workplace, the messages to my mother, and now the message sent to my current girlfriend. It cited Ohio's Civil Protection Order statutes and stated clearly that her conduct constituted a pattern of harassment under Ohio law. It also stated that a Civil Protection Order petition had been prepared and would be filed in the Court of Common Pleas if there was any further contact with me, my family members, or my current girlfriend. Under Ohio law, a civil protection order can be issued when someone demonstrates a pattern of threatening or harassing behavior. We had dates, witnesses, and documentation. My attorney friend was confident we had more than enough. And once filed, that petition becomes a public record, something that shows up in background checks, something that follows you professionally. My ex-girlfriend worked in real estate. Background checks and reputation matter in real estate. The certified letter was delivered on a Tuesday. By Thursday, the social media post was deleted. By Saturday, the Instagram message thread had been removed from her end. Too late, since we had screenshots, but she didn't know that. Then about 2 weeks later, one of the friends who'd written a statement reached out to me. He'd stayed in contact with my ex after the breakup and had a conversation with her after the certified letter arrived. He told me not to pile on, just because he thought I should know, that she had admitted to him that she'd sent the message to my new girlfriend specifically hoping to blow up the relationship before it got serious. He told me her exact words, as best he could remember them. I just wanted him to feel what I felt. He told her directly that she'd harassed a woman who had no part in our breakup, that she'd manipulated my mother twice, that she'd tried to turn grief into sabotage. She hadn't pushed back, because somewhere under all of it, she knew he was right. The last piece I didn't engineer and didn't expect. One of the senior agents at her real estate firm, someone loosely connected to our mutual social circle who had seen the social media post before it was deleted, flagged her behavior internally. The firm had a code of conduct that included provisions against conduct damaging to the company's reputation. I don't know exactly what conversations happened after that flag was raised. What I do know is that she is no longer at that firm. I didn't report her to her employer. I never contacted anyone there. When you behave badly loudly enough, the consequences have a way of finding you without anyone needing to direct them. My girlfriend is looking at remote positions in Columbus now. My mother likes her. My friends like her. It's easy in the way that good things are supposed to be easy. The reunion photos are still up. I have no intention of taking them down. And honestly, all of this, the whole mess, started because she didn't trust me around a woman I'd dated for 1 year, 8 years before we ever met. I went alone. I had the time of my life. I came home to a relationship I should have ended sooner. And somewhere in Pittsburgh, over a bar conversation and a breakfast and a walk through a city, I found something that actually works. She was right that I'd reconnect with someone at that reunion. She just had the wrong woman. If this story hit close to home, hit subscribe, because if she'd just come to Pittsburgh, none of this would have happened, and honestly, neither would my happiness.